Ooh, welcome back to Amazin But True, our New York Mets podcast from the New York Post. Jake Brown here alongside my co-host, former Mets pitcher Nelson Figueroa. Those highlights you heard courtesy of ESPN. Figgie, the Mets win 2 out of 3 against the Angels. They go 5-5 on the West Coast trip. That's really all you can ask for. You were hoping for 500 or better and stay in a fort atop the NFC East, the NL East. I clearly am in football mode, ready to go. No, the NL East and a 5.5 game lead over the surging Braves, who are now 7 games over 500. They've won 11 in a row, and they're 5.5 back. Wow, this sounds like deja vu, like late July and that week that was until that led to our live podcast that really sunk the season down the toilet. But Figgie will have no guest today, but we'll hear a story from you on your days in Milwaukee, and we'll also play Stump The Baldy, where our producer Andrew Harts tries to stump me with Mets-themed trivia. But Figgie, a solid weekend overall for this team, and 5-5 without your top 2 starters. I think you're going to sign up for any day of the week.
Yeah, without a doubt. You wanted to go out there. There was going to be a barometer check on where you stood against that National League West. You saw the Padres. There was some good things, some bad things. You saw Pete get hit. You saw Marte get injured. A lot of things happen where you're sitting there holding your head going, oh, no, here it comes, the beginning of the end. Yeah. But thankfully, we already have Pete back in the lineup and hit an absolute missile in that last inning last night. Marte is saying he is feeling fine from the effects of the quadricep injury. This team is, again, they're resilient. They're resilient enough. They're good enough. They're deep enough to continue to battle. But it is a scary sight when you look back and you see over the last 11 games, and it always gets measured in 10-game increments, right? So the last 10 games, and it says 10-0, and the Braves are just clicking on all cylinders. It's a scary sight because you've seen it happen last year, and they just rode right past them and never looked back. But this is a different team. So as long as they can stay afloat and stay ahead of them, I think, and then head-to-head, they can knock them back down a few pegs, especially once the Mets get to full strength.
Yeah, and I don't think any of us thought that this was going to be the Mets coasting new division title. Like, when this team was on top and continues to be on top, as them and the Yankees are the only teams with 40 wins in the big leagues. The 2 best records belong in New York, and it's a beautiful sight. But we know the Braves were going to be in the picture. And listen, the Phillies are back in the picture. The Phillies are in the wild card race. They're 500. The Joe Girardi firing clearly inspired them. Mm-hmm. And don't even count out the Marlins yet, who are coming to Citi Field for 4. There'll be a 1 p.m. game next Monday. We'll have the show after the game. Stay tuned. Maybe a live podcast, but stay tuned for that. But Figgie, I mean, they're in the wild card race, so that's a big series ahead. This Brewers team is struggling. We'll get into that in a little bit, but they're still, right outside first place in the NL Central. They're right there. So this is a big week for the Mets, a big little 7-game homestand here. But it was great to see them beat the Angels, and especially how it was finished off. Edwin Diaz. And we were talking before the show, and you said this wasn't the nastiest Edwin Diaz stuff. You look at the stats, though, he struck out 4 of the 5. Buck used him for 5 outs and not just for 2. Mm-hmm. It starts with striking out Mike Trout, who was mic'd up, and it was the Mike Trout slobber fest on Sunday on ESPN, it felt like. And listen, when you're that good, you get it. It's Mike Trout. He's a stud. He's handsome. He's a great hitter. But, there was a lot of love for the Angels and Mike Trout. The Mets shut him up there. Diaz, I know you're saying he wasn't as great as he was throwing 100. I think that was the fastest fastball he had all year, 102. His slider at times it was a little wild, but love to see these 5-out saves. And now Buck seems to be comfortable using his dominant closer for more than an inning. And they're going to need it because the rest of the bullpen has been a little shaky. There's some injuries. Trevor May's working his way back, but hurt. Holderman, who was pitching great, is now on the IL, although they expect him back within the next 10 to 15 days. Edwin Diaz, if he can go 2 outs and you could take him into October, into the 8th and 9th inning, that makes this Mets team a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, he is still one of the best closers in baseball, but yesterday was alarming just to see how off he was with his slider. It was either really nasty and in the dirt. The one that Rendon swung at was nowhere near the plate, and it was in automatic swing mode. He was swinging at anything close to the plate. After that, he winds up walking him, just could not get it to turn to the left like it's supposed to. It kept staying behind it. It was floating up in the strike zone, and he was frustrated by it, and you could see that. So while he saw the same thing that we did, 4 out of 5 strikeouts, and it looks great on paper, and even if you go to, SNY, it says, dominant, that's not what you saw out of Diaz yesterday. If you could see inside the lines of what he saw, and he did not have a good feel for that. His fastball was electric, and as a guy who can throw just a fastball at 102 miles an hour, and with that action, and it's about unpredictability. Even though it wasn't a good slider, still kept him off balance. It did its job, but it was not the nasty wipeout slider that he can throw.
How'd you describe his fastball? What was the word usage?
Something. Electric.
Electric. Oh yeah, voltaic. Some would say.
Yes. So he voltaic. So that's one of the things that you look for. Diaz going, 5 outs, which is not something he can't do. It's just when is it time to use him? They had an off day today. Absolutely, it's the time to use him. If you're gonna have you start out the beginning of a series and you're expecting him to be your closer for the next 3 games as well, that's a tough one to do. So I think that it's all about when and where you use him, and Buck knew exactly what to do with him yesterday.
I'd say listen to the fat guy. I think he was electric. I think everything about it, he was just great. Don't listen to the pitcher. He doesn't know anything. Mm-hmm. Listen to the guy who just ate Chick-fil-A, who will give you the great burger debate in a little bit after the Mets had In-N-Out burger after the game. And listen, that's this choice on the West Coast. We don't do that in the East. Well, we don't have it, so we can't do it. That's
exactly why you don't do it.
But we don't do it because
you just answered your own
options out
what
there.
A debate.
All right, let's just debate it now. Let's just get right into it.
You legitimately just debated the opposite side of the case, and now you already know what's coming at you.
You want it, you'll get it. Burger talk on Amazin But True. This is what everyone signed up for. Shake Shack is better than In-N-Out. I'm sorry. First off, the secret menu, you can't throw me off like that. How does anyone that's not from there know that there's this secret items? You had to Google in advance or ask inside source. You got to ask the John Heyman of burgers about the secret menu option. Second off, too much. Like, the animal style is overbearing to me on the fries and the burger. I just think it's a little too much slop on there, and there needs to be a little bit less slop. I just feel like the quality of Shake Shack burger, I think their fries, the crinkle cut, and also Smash Burger. I actually like Smash Burger better than all, but I realize not everyone's had Smash Burger, so the people who want to judge it without having it, you could be sent on a rocket ship to the moon, along with Noah Syndergaard, who we'll get into in a minute. But Figgie, I'm Smash Burger, Shake Shack, then In-N-Out. I do think In-N-Out is better than Five Guys. I will give them that. Five Guys is the most overrated burger establishment in modern civilization, next to Burger King, which is just trash.
It's called Burger King for a reason, bro.
It's called Burger Sucks. That's what it's called. We're renaming it. But are you team In-N-Out or team Shake Shack, or are you going to surprise me and say you're team Smash Burger?
Nope. As a man who has traveled all over this beautiful country,
you know your burgers.
In-N-Out.
Really?
In-N-Out by far. You know what? Jack in the Box is the greatest thing to a hangover, and a hangover prevention method of a burger at 2:00 in the morning is Jack in the Box. But if you're going for a quality burger and you're going somewhere, anybody that used to come out from the East Coast, that's the first place I'd take them was In-N-Out.
Harts, I already know. I believe you're a team In-N-Out more, but you are a fellow New Yorker as well. Has not traveled as much as Figgie. But are you In-N-Out or Shake Shack?
I'm In-N-Out, animal style. Now, if you're saying just like straight off the menu, give me a burger, I'm Shake Shack. In-N-Out's got to be animal style. The animal style fries, animal style burger. The fact that when you first had In-N-Out burger, I was appalled that you trashed In-N-Out, and yet you didn't get it animal style.
It wasn't on the menu.
You lost
I didn't know about
credibility at that point.
You got James Bond's secret agent menu.
If
what is this?
You know.
Exactly.
So OG burger, you say Shake Shack.
OG, straight up, Shake Shack. Smash Burger we shouldn't even be discussing
you
Smash
don't know.
Burger.
You got to try the Smash fries. The Smash fries are glorious.
Overpriced.
They have like a little barbecue action going on now. No, overpriced is Five Guys in Manhattan is off the charts overpriced. Okay, so you're dumb and say In-N-Out. Harts agrees with me that the OG burger. Okay, OG burger, no animal style. You're just comparing burger to burger. You're still choosing In-N-Out.
I'm still choosing In-N-Out.
That is criminal. That is
I'm
just.
still choosing
and you're
In-N-Out.
from Brooklyn.
That's okay.
Your parents would not be proud with that answer. I'm choosing that. I mean, listen, In-N-Out wasn't bad, and I get it because it's cheap. It definitely is affordable. Like, if you're on a budget, go to In-N-Out.
Now, talk about a budget. Why don't we do just some murder burgers over at White Castle? Now you want to talk about a late night.
I mean, if this podcast is sponsored by Charmin, then yes, that's what you do. You don't have White Castle sober. That's
probiotic burgers.
Well, see, I do like White Castle as the ring dings, chicken rings.
Yeah,
I got Entenmann's on my mind now.
Jesus.
I got coffee cakes on my mind, but like they have other options. They also do have a lot of options. I like that, Shake Shack and Smashburger both have some more things you can get. You can get tater tots. You can get chicken fingers. You're pretty limited in an out burger. I will say they did have pink lemonade. And as a big pink lemonade enthusiast, I did support that. Noah Syndergaard probably isn't a pink lemonade enthusiast.
Oh, he's definitely a pink
because he's a little
enthusiast.
baby back, what. Extra rest. There happens to be something about the timing of this rest that makes me wonder, Figgy.
Awful. There's no way. There's no way. All of a sudden, he's a little tender. He's a little sore. Could use an extra day. No shot.
You think it's timed because they're playing the Mets? You think he backed out because he didn't want the Mets lineup to scold him with Marte and Alonso back in there?
Absolutely. When you have a team that is ready to pounce on you and you can get away with not having to deal with it, that's exactly what they did. The Angels were going to protect them from the beginning. That's what they talked about, right? Extra rest, a 6-man rotation, pitch counts.
They couldn't wait 1 week to do this?
Innings limits, all those great, wonderful things. You know what they were doing. They want to protect his psyche as well. No need to let him go out there and get his brains beat in by his former team. And then the onslaught of Mets Twitter on top of him as well. So instead, everybody just gets to call him names and, sticks and stones, and he can hopefully get over it by the time he pitches again. But he missed out. If he was the Noah Syndergaard that said, meet me 60 feet 6 inches, he would have showed up.
Yeah, he was 60 feet 6 inches from the field, I think. He was just chilling in the dugout. It is bizarre, and it is pretty much a baby move by Syndergaard. Because you're right.
Baby,
if he's
that's the word you wanted to go with?
I mean... But we're a PG broadcast here, so I'll refrain from saying more. But this timing is so suspect.
Yeah,
and
definitely sus.
It's sus. And Syndergaard, I'd say we see you in October, but we won't. So the Angels don't seem to be on a path to the playoffs. And this clearly was timed right. And, a big guy he didn't want to face is Pete Alonso. And Pete Alonso, another piss missile on Sunday that helped
you
Edwin
could say
Diaz.
Unbelievable.
I mean, piss missile is PG. Everyone pisses. And, and missile is just, missile I got to from the Adam Sandler movie I watched, Hustle. Very good. Yeah. Emotional. And he called him the Cruise Missile. His name was Bo Cruz.
I was going to figure Cruz might have been his name.
Yeah, and
so that's where sneak nothing by this guy.
That's why I had the word missile on my mind, and piss. I piss every hour of the day.
Sounds great. Let's go over why you have piss missile on your mind.
Yeah, Mr. Alonso, who is favorite MVP. I've been having a stroke the past week, but
in the National League, yes, of course, and of course, Judge is doing what he's doing on the other side. So New York is very well represented on both sides when it comes to power hitters and doing monstrous things with the bat.
And speaking of New York, MLB just released their power rankings. New York Yankees are number 1. New York Mets are number 2.
2 weeks in a row.
Back in the New York groove.
2 weeks in a row where the Mets and Yankees are atop the power rankings, and rightfully so. The two teams that are first to 40 wins in each league. And, as you can see, the Yankees' offense is – they just don't stop. They don't let up. They're clicking on all cylinders with every single bite, including Carpenter, who came out of nowhere.
Yeah, speaking of piss
we
missiles.
were laughing, saying, "Oh, look at him with this mustache. He looks ridiculous." And 6 home runs in his first 10 games, never been done by a Yankee before. It just goes to show you.
Picked up all the scrap heap, too.
It just goes to show you. This is what the Yankees do. This is who the Yankees are.
I would have taken him.
Oh, everybody would have taken him now, all right?
Hindsight's 20/20.
That's why the Yankees are good at what they do. But going back to the Mets and where they're at, You got these guys, guys aren't being lost for a long period of time, and, getting a few days here and there doesn't hurt. But you're looking for this starting staff to get some help and get some, regular help when you get DeGrom back, hopefully end of the month, early July, and
sometime July, Scherzer.
Yeah, Scherzer too in July. So it'll be a huge movement for the pitching staff in general, because then you can start bumping guys down to the bullpen, and those guys like Shreve, who've been struggling, guys that have been used too much. Joelis Rodriguez been used too much. Those aren't the names you want to see, consistently out there. But they're they've been doing a job that is very difficult, because each and every time they have to be called upon, whether the game is up by 5 or down by 5. You're only going to save your back end guys for it's 3 or less to try and get a save in the game. So we'll see a lot of changes here coming shortly.
Yeah, it doesn't help that the starters haven't been great. Thank God Taijuan Walker, 10 Ks too. He is not a high strikeout guy. That was by far his season high at Ks of the year. Brought his ERA down to 3.08. He's had to be good, because Chris Bassett, since he got that finally the contract done, you would think that would be a chip off his shoulder, a monkey off his back. It seems like the monkeys, speaking of monkeys, they just left the Angels, the rally monkey, bring that back.
I'm telling you, he needs to take his meds.
Where's David Eckstein when you need him? Was it David Eckstein? That was the guy.
As soon as he walks through the door next time, hand him his meds.
I haven't even had coffee today either. I've only had my Diet Coke. But
see, look, he just went on another tangent.
It's related. But for real though, like the pitching has struggled. Yes. And, some of it could be, and something we'll get into here, as, Alonso, as I was saying before, the MVP candidate, Goldschmidt, Machado, Betts, Harper, the other guys, all hitting better average-wise, but no one's in Alonso's stratosphere when it comes to RBIs, and he's also top in homers. So looking forward to seeing that race. Maybe Judge and Alonso win, and we get a Subway Series, World Series. And it's a New York party. It's a street, a walk down the Canyon of Heroes this fall. But when we talk about starting pitching, catching plays a part. And since McKernan has gone down with the injury, the starting pitching has sucked. So, and you could speak to this as a pitcher, and we kind of spoke about this, how the third catcher makes a difference, and Mazeka, as Carl Ravitch called him, and Thomas Nido, he called him on Sunday. My God, I've had enough of the ESPN broadcast.
I think he does it on purpose.
It's literally like, does someone tell him how to pronounce a name?
He has to.
It's embarrassing. It's like, get it right. It's Tomas, clearly. Mazeka, I get it. Third stringer, a little bit tougher, but there is an accent, and it's T-O-M-S.
They actually get the phonetical spellings right there in front of them.
So he's just messing up on purpose.
Yes, I'm telling you.
He's just disrespecting the catchers. But there's something to that, Figgy, where McCann is the defensive guy, and yes, he struggles offensively, and we'll talk about in a minute how they're all struggling at the plate, but that's got to play a factor to these starters pitching worse.
Yeah, Mazeka has filled in nicely, but you have to know that they have a good rapport with McCann, and they are comfortable pitching to him. They don't worry about his at-bats. They don't worry about what he's doing with the bat. All they know is that he knows what fingers to put down, how he prepares as a catcher each and every day. And Tomas Nido, when you're a backup catcher and you're a guy who's a catch-and-throw guy who can throw people out and also call a good game, it's the same thing. And when catchers start to struggle offensively, and then they start to put in a little extra work on their offense, and there's extra pressure now on Nido because he's got to be the one who's playing every day and carrying the load offensively. And let's just face it, it's not a position that they're getting a lot of offense out of. So they have to really tighten up on being the best game callers, the best backstops, no passed balls, no wild pitches, being able to, really hone their craft and throw out base runners and be a little bit aggressive with maybe some back picks, and just, keep other things as simple as possible, where these pitchers have that confidence in you each and every time out. Because when you're throwing to a guy like Mazeka, and he doesn't know these guys very well, he's having to work with them. There's tendencies, there's ways you like to pitch, depending what count you like to throw in, if you like to pitch backwards and throw, breaking balls and fastball counts. All that stuff is tough to do on the fly, but the more that these guys are around each other, they'll be able to figure it out. But McCann's definitely surely missed when it comes to just his catching ability.
The question is, how long will they be around? Because there is a guy in the minor leagues, and it rhymes with Francisco Alvarez. His name's Francisco Alvarez. Sorry, that is literally the toughest name to rhyme, and I'm a freestyle rapper, and I can't even do that. I mean, come on now. 13 homers, 33 RBIs in Double-A Binghamton Figgie in 50 games. I get it. He's 20 years old. He had his first year in Single A last year. You could argue they're rushing him. He hasn't even been in AAA. The Mets catchers in AAA are doing nothing. So maybe he gets to AAA sometime in the next month. But 13 homers, 33 RBIs, 50 games. Mets catchers combined have 2 homers, 22 RBIs, and 62 games. I'm not saying it's a quick fix, but it could be worth a try to call him up. I know it's a little soon, but if he's crushing minor league pitchers and hitting home runs at the rate he is, why not see what he's got in the big leagues this season? Because you need to determine, do we need to make a trade for a catcher for the short term? Do we make a trade for Contreras from the Cubs? Or do we just give this kid a shot? Because it's not the most pressing need. Nito, listen, he's still hitting 240, which isn't terrible, but it's worth considering. And I would love, and John Heyman reporting the Mets are not ruling out, John Heyman of the New York Post and The Show, the baseball podcast on Tuesdays that me and Harts produce. Alvarez should be here, I think, this year if he keeps going.
Yeah, at some point I think he will be here. A September call-up for sure, because you're going to have that guy sitting there on the bench learning his craft so that it makes the transition to the big leagues a little bit easier. He'll be catching bullpens and getting comfortable with guys when they're working on the side, and so that's when you want him. But you want him to put up his numbers, get all the experiences, go through slumps. It's great when everything's going great right now, right? The game's easy when you're hitting 13 home runs and 33 RBIs in 50 games. The game's easy. Then all of a sudden when you struggle, how does he bounce back? You don't want to learn that the hard way. Look at Jared Kelenic. They jumped him up to the big leagues and want to see what he can do, and all you keep seeing is him, not only his average plummet, but his self-confidence has been plummeting nonstop. And it's like, at what point do you say, hey, he needs to go back down for some more seasoning just so he can figure out how to get back, to that good positive feeling. Remember, hitting is the most negative thing in all of sports. It's the only thing that you can do 2.5 times now. It used to be 3 out of 10 and you were an all-star. Now 2.5 times out of 10 and you're an all-star if you're successful. There's no other sport that you can be successful 2.5 times out of 10 and be considered anything. Maybe looking for another job. Quite frankly, if you shot free throws at a 2.5 times out of 10 clip, you'd be looking for another job. You're not a very good basketball player. So I'm saying is that his hitting is going well. Now's not the time to rush him per se, but I do look for him to be a part of this team in September, especially if they continue to play well enough that they are not necessarily running away with it, but if they have a comfortable lead, you can let him learn on the fly. And then next year, you make those tougher decisions of, bringing back McCann, trading McCann, or whatever else may be needed.
So you think bring him up, maybe send him to AAA, in the next few weeks, the way he's tearing up
Second half.
275 with a 348 OBP in 50 games. So second half, and then September, call him up and get him a few games at least, get him some experience. Listen, if he hits like he has been, I'm just drooling at the thought of him in the 9-hole.
Yeah.
And then you bring up Brandon Nimmo. I mean, the Mets could be an unstoppable force if he comes up and contributes. So you're against the whole let's go get a catcher. You say ride these guys, try Alvarez, and go with what you got. Work on other things like getting reliever and maybe a starter versus that.
Listen, if you can get Contreras for cheap, sure. I mean, if you're not
teams like the Yankees are going to be in the market for him too.
Yeah, if you're not giving up a lot for him, then absolutely. I mean, the guy's a stud. Don't get me wrong. But then are you just using him for a rental? You're going to try and keep him. Then what does that do to Alvarez again? Alvarez's value. So I think this is the first time in a long time that the Mets have had a catcher of this caliber with the power bat and be able to do all the other things. So I think you're trying to do this the right way. It's very similar to when Pete was tearing it up in AA and AAA, and everybody's like, why aren't they calling him up? Why aren't they calling him up? Well, you know why? Because he's already had over 500 at-bats. Now you bring him to the big leagues where he's facing big league caliber talent, and it's not necessarily like the guys throw harder or the guys, have nastier sliders. It's that they're more consistent, and they're more consistent at exposing, holes and finding weaknesses in hitters. You don't want that hitter exposed. I could tell you right now, Aaron Judge, his first year in the big leagues, remember what he batted? 176. It was 176, 173. He has it on his phone. He keeps it on his phone. So it always reminds him of that first time he came up to the big leagues, how he was overmatched because he tried to do too much. He tried to, do what he was doing in the minor leagues, and he wasn't able to do that. And he had to really, self-assess himself in the offseason to figure out, what kind of hitter he wanted to be. And when you're in Yankee Stadium, hey, be late on a fastball, and you can still hit it 305 feet and get a home run. So he made the adjustments. With a kid like Alvarez and just like with Pete Alonso, yeah, you want to see them. Everybody's clamoring to do it, but it's not a necessity. It's not something where you need to rush him in the process unless you're ready to call him up and leave him there for the next 10 years. With Pete, I was one of the first people to say I think it's a good move by the Mets to say, you know what, let's not do it right now. We don't want your confidence going into the offseason being, oh, my God, I struggled at the big league level. Instead, he went to the offseason saying, I busted my ass. I earned player of the year for the Mets, and they probably told him, it's your job to lose next year. You know, even though Dom Smith was already there, Pete was just going to be a difference maker right from the beginning, and Brody, being who Brody was as an agent, sold him that idea, and he was fine with it.
Jake Brown with co-host Chris Woodward in studio talking about these short right field home runs at Yankee Stadium. That's Nelson Figueroa getting the itch to pitch as he is gripping a ball right now in studio, preparing his changeup. I do one day want to have, maybe next week or in coming weeks, you to give me a grip demonstration of every pitch and seeing if I could get the angles. Maybe when I go to Staten Island, we'll give it a try.
I want this video so we can see you.
I think we're going to do it next week, during the week. I'm thinking Wednesday, because Thursday the 23rd is Doc Gooden Day, and you can't really do a Doc Gooden Day. That's his day. There's going to be a lot going on. Maybe the day before, me and Harts are talking about Wednesday the 22nd, which is my brother Robert's birthday, actually. So maybe we will do it that day and figure it out. Well, the Mets have 100 games left. And speaking of the minors, let's give a quick shout out to Khalil Lee. First career homer on the opposite field on Saturday in a blowout. But listen, it's still a home run and it still counts. Shout out Lonely Island. To Crom Scherzer on the Mets. Get this guy his meds. Mets have 100 games left. Only 3 will start past 7:40. Thank you, God. You won't have to stay up anymore. 1 against the Astros at 8:10. 1 against the Cubs at 8:05. 1 in September against the Oakland A's at 9:40 p.m. Otherwise, smooth sailing. 7:40 and earlier, baby. You know, all the old people who complain about staying up late. No more staying up late. Unless there's a rain delay, of course. The Mets face the Brewers this week, who are 2-10, Figgy, in the last 12 games. A guy who we wanted, Hader, just dominating. 18 saves, .96 ERA, 2 runs in 18 2/3, 6 hits, 6 walks. I mean, this guy is pitching at a lights-out rate for a Brewers team that is struggling, yet still is just a half game out of first place in what's going to be a tough NL Central. They were right behind the Cardinals despite their struggles of late. This is a tough series, and we'll get Bassett, Peterson, and McGill, who pitched pretty well in his return Friday. Not long, but he was okay, giving up a couple of runs. The Brewers, tough series, and then the Marlins. Should be a fun homestand.
Yeah, you're looking at the Brewers to try and, turn things around. They're not in panic mode either. This is kind of like the Braves, how they were, we kept saying, oh, the Mets have a 9.5 game lead, smooth sailing, and then bang, rattle off 11 in a row. We've seen this Brewers team, led by Craig Counsell, rattle off big win streaks in the past and be able to, turn things around. So not worried about them. They have a very talented team. And the Hader is, of course, that crowning jewel between him and Williams. You got fire and ice over there with the way that they pitch. They're just so good at the back end of that bullpen. They're tough to score on. They're tough to really, change the momentum of a game when it gets to the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. I think that pipe dream of getting Hader from the Brewers is long gone, because with the expanded playoffs, every team still has a shot, and so you're not going to get rid of a piece that big unless it's a monumental haul. And by monumental, you're talking about having to either lose Alvarez or having to lose someone like I wouldn't even say it, but I mean Pete Alonso. And that would never happen, you know what I mean? So it would take something of that magnitude. So Hader is good, but I don't think we'll be seeing him in a Met uniform at least this year.
How about this? We sweep them, make them even worse, get them out of the picture, and then we trade for him.
Say we could sweep them, but then if the Cardinals lose, then they're still sitting a half game out.
How about end of July, they're out of the race, and we just get Hader? How about that? I would be all for that.
What if I told you?
Uh-oh.
And
that was a seductive voice. My heart's there. Wow.
This is a very seductive question. What if I told you?
I did get comments that this guy has a nice voice. I was told about Harts. I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want to make his head big like mine.
Ginormous.
So I didn't say it. But you have been complimented for your smooth radio voice.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. But here's my seductive question.
Oh, no, I take it back.
Anytime you compliment somebody,
you did it.
Bam.
This is that. That's
every time you compliment
that's
somebody.
all your fault, Jake Brown. This is the effect you have. If I told you right now that you had to trade Francisco Alvarez for Josh Hader, but it guaranteed you a World Series championship this year, would you do it?
I mean, Can you say that? Can you say it guaranteed a World Series championship?
He just said guaranteed a World Series championship. What do you mean? Can he say it?
I'm essentially trading you Francisco Alvarez for a championship this year. Are you doing it?
I don't think I do. I just hope you win a championship with the guys you got and just don't write it off. Hader's got 1 year of arbitration left, so you got 1 year control under him. He's essentially will be your setup man, I would assume, this year, the rest of this year and next year. I think Alvarez might be too steep because the Mets catcher is a weak spot for this team, and you don't want to let that kind of power bat, maybe the next Mike Piazza, the Spanish Mike Piazza, go away from us. I think that's too steep, Figgy. I think Beatty and even Vientos, Mauricio, either of those fine, but catcher is such a tough position to have a franchise-like player like he could be.
Yeah, I'd package anything else that they wanted, but there's no chance that I'm including Alvarez in anything of that nature. I just think, as good as Hader is, relievers are volatile. You'll have one great year. Look at how's Aaron Loop doing, by the way?
He's been bad, yeah.
How's Aaron Loop doing?
That ended up working out. Not that the Mets relievers have been much better, but
right. But I mean, I just think that's it. Like, there's going to be a point in time where all of a sudden it's either an injury or it's either the game catches up to him. I mean, Sean Doolittle was one of the top closers in the game, throwing nothing but a fastball, and it was only like 92 to 94 miles an hour. It wasn't a Hader type fastball, which is 97 plus, but everybody figured out, wait a minute, this guy doesn't actually throw anything else but a fastball. And he throws it at the top of the zone, which is normally a ball. Why don't we just take it for a little while until he brings the ball down? Then he started bringing the ball down. He started getting hit. So I don't think that's even a thought in my mind to make that trade. But the other pieces now, I mean, you're very comfortable with the guys that you have in Met uniforms. I don't think that's something that I would entertain.
Well, the Mets will have to face Hader unless they just win every game and don't have to face him, and hopefully don't go to the ninth inning down because then it's pretty much a loss. 7-7-7, and then Marlins 7-4, and then don't forget 140 on Sunday because I'll show up 2 hours early, not realizing it's not a 110 start again. And it'll start with the Brewers, who Figgy played for in one season in 2002. Wasn't very good, 1-7, 5.03 ERA. But you did have your most innings pitched, most games for one team. 2010, you were with two teams, the Phillies and Astros, but you did, for one team, have your most games in that season, 2002, with the Brewers. So coming up next on Amazin But True, we'll get Figgy Fable on his time in the land of the cheese. All right, Figgy, 2002 with the Brewers. We're back in Amazin But True here. You had a okay season. How about I just say that? I'll be nice to you. Tell us a Figgy Fable from your year in Milwaukee.
All right, let's start out from the very beginning. I was the 26th man on the Philadelphia Phillies roster, brought into the office and told, hey, you're not making the team. We're going to try and sneak you through waivers. They put me on waivers, so instead of going on the plane to Atlanta to open up the season, I went home to Philadelphia with all the rest of the fans who left, and I was sitting coach with all of them, and they're all like, where are you going? I said, I'm going to get the rest of my stuff so I can meet the team. I'm lying my ass off. Anyway, I sit at home, and I'm watching opening day from my couch and going, wow, I can't believe I made this team, but I didn't make this team. And 3 days later, I get picked up by the Milwaukee Brewers. I fly into Milwaukee and do my press conference, welcome to Milwaukee, blah, 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 blah. I pitch against the Diamondbacks, who were my first team. I had a scoreless eighth inning. And then I think I pitched 2 of the first 3 games I was there, and then they said, hey, you're going to start on Saturday. I was like, oh, okay, where are we? San Francisco. And, of course, who do you have to face? Barry Bonds. So needless to say, Barry Bonds, I think, passed Mickey Mantle on the all-time list against me. It was a home run that I swore. What's the name of it? Jeffrey Mayer, the kid who leaned over and took the home run. A guy, Jeffrey Mayered me. And I'm looking at the umpire, and I'm pointing, and he goes, and he points at the scoreboard where it says that, Bonds had just passed Lou Gehrig. And he's like, it ain't coming back, kid. I was like, oh, my God.
Before replay.
Well, yeah, I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe this. That definitely didn't get out. But anyway, facing Barry Bonds right out the chute.
Wait, it was just homer to pass who?
It was either Lou Gehrig or it was Maris, or it was one of the big Yankees. It was one of the big Yankees on the all-time list. It was the year
Harts
that he
will look this up.
Yeah, check it out. So anyway, going through Milwaukee. So I had an injury during batting practice. I was, racing across the outfield to catch a fly ball. Alex Ochoa hits a ball in the gap. I turned my ankle on the warning track in Cincinnati. I get carted off. X-rays negative. inside the clubhouse. I get sent home from the road trip just to not have to go to Chicago because it's such a small clubhouse. They say I'm supposed to be off my leg for a month. The team says we can't afford that. We don't want to call anybody up or put anybody on the roster, so you're going to be activated in 2 weeks. So be better in 2 weeks. That's what they said. I literally had my leg wrapped almost like a soft cast, and I was pitched like that for the rest of the season, where through 4 innings, once it went numb, it was very tough to feel your legs and push off and stuff. So that's why my numbers suffered.
Excuses.
Nope. And then I give you the best one. No, the best one. This is the way
you made 11 starts that year.
Here's
so the rest, I guess, came out of relief.
So the way to end it was we get to the end of the season, right? And we're struggling as a team, Milwaukee Brewers, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to give you a chance to come back here. We know you were injured most of the year, and you know you sucked it up. You did what you need to do." I said, "Appreciate that." When we get to spring training next year, you're going to fight for a job. Cool. 4 days left in the season, they fired the GM and hired a new GM. Hart was the GM. John Hart comes in, legitimately grabs a roster and says, "Get rid of these 4 guys." My name was one of them. I spent the whole year in the big leagues with them.
Wonder who the other 3 were.
I remembered through him. Ryan Christensen was one of them. It was
sounds like the 16th president.
It was guys. It was a bunch of guys who like had a little bit of time. Combined, they didn't have as much time as I did in the big leagues. And here I was as a starter reliever, and I did fairly well, but I also took my lumps.
Literally on your ankle.
No, on everything else too. My neck from the whiplash from the home runs. I think I gave up
18 that year.
Yeah,
that was the most by a mile that you gave.
I had 10 in 10 straight. I had 1 in 10 straight games. 10 solo shots in 10 straight games. It was a record at the time.
You just liked fans getting souvenirs.
You
were nice.
I was a man of the people. Yeah. A man of the people. But anyway, so Hart comes in. So they send a letter to me in the off season, and they address it to Nelson Figueroa. My address in Brookland, New York. And wait. It says, as per conversation between the GM and your agent, you have elected free agency. The guy that they had on the piece of paper was not my agent. So they spoke to someone who wasn't my agent and said that I declared free agency. I'd never even spoken to them. And I tried to call them. No one would answer the phone. He wouldn't get back to me, and they released me at the end of 2002, and then I wound up signing with the Pirates. But it's one of the biggest mysteries that I've ever had in my life.
Wow. Can we get to the bottom of this?
There is no getting to the
Maybe
bottom
next
of it.
week. We'll have to make some calls. So we need to call John Hart. Is that the guy?
John
Is
Hart
he alive? Let's see. Let's make sure he's alive.
Yes, he's alive.
Before we talk about him.
Yes, he's alive. But yeah, it was a huge to do because it was not my agent.
John Henry Hart, he's 73 from Tampa. All right, we'll get his information.
Also found out it was career number 574 for Barry Bonds, and he passed Harmon Killebrew.
Oh.
But Figgy, do you also remember giving up? That was the second home run you gave up to Barry Bonds.
Yes,
you gave up one.
The first one was the year before. They're in the 73.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. And I struck him out, though.
That doesn't matter.
Why does that not matter? You see, you always want to talk about the bad. You never want to talk about the good.
Which number of the 73? Was it number 73?
49, I believe. Something of that nature.
Yeah. Well, you gave up a lot of souvenirs to the fans. It was very nice of you. Poor John Hart. No, poor. I mean, he's not a very nice man, it seems. So, well, that'll be the long mystery.
47.
47th. All right. There's our research.
It was a baseball
staff.
card actually that they made, and they had a quote from me during that streak. So I think they had 73 home runs, and they had something about each one of the home runs.
Something about those guys with H-A-R-T in their last name, either with the S or without. Something suspect about that. Well, H-A-R-T-S. Andrew Harts will try and stump the Baldy on Amazin But True next. All right, Andrew Harts tried. He tried his best to stump me and didn't on any non-mascot related trivia questions about this franchise. So on Amazin But True, Harts will take 2 of trying to stump the Baldy. Take it away, Harts.
All righty. So at your request, there's no questions that feature mascots.
Okay.
But
what about ascots?
There may be an ascot question. that could be a bonus question. Jake, with his fashion sense, he may know some stuff.
What about Prescott? Dak Prescott.
Okay, can we stay focused?
Stay on topic here.
All right.
All right, we'll start with an easy one. At least I think it's an easy one.
God.
When the Mets hosted the 2013 All-Star Game, what Mets were on the NL squad?
Well, Matt Harvey started the game.
Okay.
Who else was on that damn team? David Wright.
Okay.
Jose Reyes?
No,
No, he wasn't. How many more do I have? You didn't say how many I did.
You're exactly correct, right? I didn't say how many.
Just tell them how many. That's a
How
biggest
many?
There's
were there?
2.
There's 2 more.
No. There were 2.
Okay, so Harvey and Wright.
There you go.
Okay,
You got it.
there you go. See, that's fine. 1 for 1.
Okay. Let's go with this one. Who was
Jose
the Mets
Reyes.
starting pitcher for their first game at Citi Field?
Not Nelson Figueroa. He was the last of the first
Are we
season.
talking about the exhibition game?
No. We're talking about the first ever
Did you start the
official Mets
exhibition
game.
I think I did.
Did you?
Oh, that's a good trivia stat. First game. Part of me wants to say Bartolo Colon, but that's not. This is 2009. Okay. Mike Pelfrey.
You got it.
Yes.
Yeah, there
Wow.
you go. There you
I'm
go.
the biggest fan of the planet.
2 for 2. 2 for 2.
I remember that one. It was a night game, too. They opened at night to open the season. Mike Pelfrey, who I once ran into in an elevator, too, in Port St. Lucie at the hotel during spring training, and he made me feel short. All right, 2 for 2.
I was going to ask you who hit the first home run at Citi Field, but you probably wouldn't know that, right?
David Wright
Nope.
hit a home run, not the first home run,
Right.
in that game.
Right.
But an opponent hit
Yeah.
the road. It was against the Marlins, Padres. It went to right field, I believe.
Did it go to right? I thought it went to left field.
This isn't part of the question. This
It's
is
not-
bonus.
It's just completely off the. It's okay. Don't worry. It's like Mike Garrett. I don't know. I don't.
You don't even know. You
Exactly,
got to
that's what
come
I'm
with the
saying.
answer if
I'm
you're
not
going to
gonna-
give me the question.
I was gonna use it, but then I deleted it. Anyway, okay. So now we'll go to our third
I'm
question.
going to look it up now.
Third question, and don't go typing and looking up the next.
I'm looking
answer
up the
here.
first homer at Citi Field.
It's like Mike
Jody Garrett.
Jody Garrett. There you go.
That is a good one.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't know that, so you're welcome. I didn't put it on there.
All right.
Anyway, all right. So now here's your Nelson Figueroa question.
Oh boy.
Nelson pitched for Puerto Rico in the 2013 World Baseball Classic. What position did the team finish in? Figgy smiling like.
I don't think they won it. They didn't win it. I think they were second place. Silver medal.
You got it.
Yes. He's on
He
fire.
is on fire.
What is that? 3 or 4?
That's 3.
How many more do we got? 3?
Why you
I'm
panicking?
stressing.
Why you panicking?
My cholesterol's rising.
All
I
right.
knew it. I knew you got a medal, but it wasn't gold. So there you go.
All right. Here's your next one. What Mets player holds the franchise record for highest batting average in a season?
It is Piazza.
Is that your answer?
You're making me question it. He's
I
questioning
just-
no, it's Jose Reyes because he had the batting title.
That is incorrect. John Olerud.
Oh, Larud. What was the average?
It was
This is-
354, I want to
Did
say.
he in '99? I gotta look that up.
I had it before. I should have put it in with the question, but it was like 350 something.
354 in
There you
1998. Wow. I thought it'd be Reyes when he had that 331 year, whatever, and Terry pulled him out.
330 is
Terry-
less than 350.
Terry didn't pull him out. Jose Reyes won it out. Let's be real.
Yeah.
He didn't want to lose the batting title.
Exactly.
All right, you got me on 1, 3
All right.
for 4.
Here's your last
Still
question.
a C student. That's not terrible.
Here's the last question.
I thought there were 2 more. That's 4, right?
Yeah, that's 4. We only got 1 more.
Okay, 5
We're-
today.
We're doing
Okay.
5 today.
So this is for my B, which is what I got in school mostly, 3.0.
There you go.
Need this.
This one is based around your favorite pitcher, Edwin Diaz.
Oh, boy.
Edwin Diaz recorded his 78th save as a Met last night. There are 8 other Mets pitchers, closers if you will, that have more saves than him. I'm not going to ask you to name all 8 of them, but give me 6 of them.
6 closers in their career, not just a Mets uniform.
No.
Mets.
Mets that have the most saves in franchise history.
More saves than 78. Okay.
76.
76. John Franco.
That's 1.
Okay. Armando Benitez.
That's 2.
Okay.
Come on, knock this out already.
Billy Wagner.
That's 3.
I wasn't sure if he had that all in a Mets uniform.
Billy Wagner had 101.
K-Rod.
That's 4.
I need 2 more.
Just eked it. 83. He's next on the list. Come on.
Tug McGraw.
Yep.
That's 5.
Oh, One more.
You got 3. One of 3. That's all you need.
All right, so I did 2000. I did K-Rod. I did Franco. 86 team, I don't think had anyone that had that many. I need a clue.
Right
I think. Who am I missing? An obvious one?
Yes.
You're missing 3 obvious ones.
Super obvious.
3 obvious. All 3 of them are pretty
One of
obvious.
them is super obvious because
2 of them are super obvious, quite frankly, if you think about it.
Throwback names.
no,
Okay, newer. Okay.
no.
Middle age.
I'm not telling you which. Nice try.
I said Franco. Who am K-Rod? Who am I missing?
Do we need to get a clock up here? 'Cause
No. It wasn't anyone from 86, I don't think. Who am I forgetting?
You're right. It wasn't anyone from '86. You're absolutely right.
Who is This is gonna I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna get this because if I don't, I'm gonna jump off the ninth floor of this building.
So there wasn't one guy from '86.
Don't say it yet. Don't give it to
I
me.
won't. No.
I'm missing 3.
Once you don't
and
get
all in a Mets uniform.
Yep.
All in Mets uniform.
I said Tug. Who am I missing?
And there's 2 that are glaringly
just-
obvious.
Wagner.
one of them more so than one of them more so than anybody on the '86 team.
It's 15.
Definitely not one guy on '86.
I'm going to have to put a timer on this, Jake.
Yeah. Give me 30 seconds.
30 seconds? You got it.
Okay, here we go. 30. Oh my God.
I can tell you who it's not. It's not Randy Myers. It's not Bobby Parnell.
Why am I forgetting?
Skip Lockwood is not the
Sid
name.
Fernandez.
Sid Fernandez was not a closer.
Not a closer. That wasn't a guess. Why am I forgetting? Why I don't the 2015 I haven't said was
5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm just gonna guess
1.
Braden Looper.
Negatory.
No.
Hold on a second. Are you
Billy-
kidding me?
Who am I
The guy had
forgetting?
53 saves in one season for the Mets, and you don't think he got more than
Benitez.
76 in his career?
Who?
The guy had 53 saves in one season on 2015 team.
I just blanking. on
Familia.
Oh my!
You got to be.
And then wait. And then
Wait, it gets better. Wait, what did I
How
say?
did I forget?
What?
Jake,
What? Listen carefully. What did I
That's
say?
just a brain fart.
What-
That's just
Wait,
from the
wait,
weekend. A
wait.
long weekend. Of,
Wait for it.
What
Wait
did
for
I?
it.
What did I
Oh
say?
my
It
God.
wasn't one guy on the '86 team. It was both the guys on the '86 team, Orozco and McDowell.
oh my God!
Are you kidding me?
He's
out.
That is an
He's
epic.
out.
That is a meltdown
kidding me.
and a half.
So I'd like to
Familia
thank you
I'm mad
guys.
about 'cause that's recent. That's just a pure brain fart.
I'd like
I
to.
obviously know that. That is just my brain.
Oh, obviously he knows
It's
that.
foggy.
Obviously.
My
Oh,
brain
yeah.
is just not functioning on this Monday.
I'd like to
It's been
thank
a
you
long
all
day.
for
This is when
listening.
you don't have the coffee. I can't guess Jared's Familia.
I
Orozco's bad. What was the other
The
one?
man
Orozco and who?
McDowell.
McDowell.
McDowell. See, that was That one I'm less mad about. Familia, I'm furious, and Orozco is inexcusable.
Unacceptable.
Inexcusable.
Seriously, face the corner for the rest of
Face
the
the
show.
corner.
I said Braden Looper over
Braden
Jared
Looper
Familia.
over Familia. He had 53 saves in one season.
If I'm not on next week's show, it's because I died. Embarrassing. We'll close out Amazing But True next. All right, Figgy. Somehow I have air left to finish this show after that pathetic display by me that I will not have sleep because of, but that says goodnight to episode 108 of Amazing But True, our Mets podcast from the New York Post.
Hey, we just went ahead of Jesse Orozco. He had 107
Oh
saves.
my
So the,
God!
show-
How he got the last out? He was the 86th name I was thinking of.
Thanks to you, Jake, for providing us with laughs. And Andrew Harts, great questions, and for producing the show. Give Amazing But True a 5-star rating and write in a nice review on Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and give us a follow on Twitter at Amazing But True.
I want to say something to close the show out, but I don't know what I have left in the tank. I'm just heartbroken right now. Promotions this weekend. Pride Night Fanny Pack on Friday. It's the NYM T-shirt Saturday, and then Sunday is a pretty crappy looking hat giveaway, a cap. So you could care less about that, but I will definitely get the Pride Night Fanny Pack. For Nelson Figueroa, Andrew Harts, I'm Jake Brown. We'll return next Monday. So the Mets play Monday at 1 p.m. So the hope is to go to the game, maybe do a post-game show, maybe at Ebbs at the lounge there. We'll see if we can arrange that. But look for us next Monday. If you're going to the game, if you either a degenerate, your school year's over, you don't work Mondays, you're playing hooky, whatever the reason is that you're at a 1 p.m. game on a Monday on June 20th, we hope to see you there, and then we'll do some stuff with the Ferry Hawks next week as well. Figgy, enjoy the games against the Brewers. We'll see you at Citi Field. Enjoy the games against the Marlins. And as always,
let's go Mets.
Still mad about Orozco and Familia.